Today's show is all about technology. Drones to give real-time data on damage to crops and help with predial larceny. Plus, how you can treat recycled water for irrigation use. Hello, I am Adrian Atkinson and this is Jamaica Magazine. Also in our show, the benefits of protected agriculture. Please stay with us.
The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is committed to ensuring that every Jamaican child has the best learning environment to thrive and needs your cooperation to make the education system work successfully.
What are the school's voluntary contributions for?
Co-curricular and sports activities and school development.
What amount are parents to contribute?
Your contributions are voluntary and the amount depends on the type of programs being offered by the school.
If my child is being denied access to school, can I complain to the ministry?
Yes. You can call or visit any of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's 6 regional offices or send an email to complaints@moey.gov.jm.
What support is there for PATH students?
PATH students are not expected to make contributions and are to be provided with 5 days free lunch as of this year.
Parents and guardians, do continue to make your voluntary financial contributions to your children's school. The institutions need your assistance for their school development and sporting activities. Remember, every child can learn. Every child must learn.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Thursday, September 8. Jamaica's fight against crime is to be enhanced with the help of the United States government. It was revealed yesterday that the U.S. Embassy in Kingston will have full-time offices of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives ATF to help with Jamaica's crime problem. U.S. Ambassador Louis Moreno says his government will be using joint law enforcement operations, training and equipment, as well as extraditions to bring down transnational crime.
We have invested and we will continue to invest tens of millions of dollars and thousands of man-hours in improving the capability of Jamaica's security forces and judiciary. We must reduce the murder rate, and we must bring criminals to justice.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, meanwhile, says that while government is prepared to work with international partners such as the U.S., the state is fairly advanced in developing its own plan to secure Jamaica. That plan is being prepared by the National Security Council for delivery by October.
Don't expect foreign countries to solve your own crime problem if you don't demonstrate the will to take on the difficult, challenging situations and establish authority of the state over criminals. This administration is prepared to do that. And in the next budget, you will see an allocation which will be significant but necessary in ensuring that Jamaica once and for all brings the crime monster to heel.
The Prime Minister and U.S. Ambassador were speaking on Wednesday at a forum discussing US-Jamaica bilateral relations. It was staged by the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, CAPRI. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says Red Stripe's decision to return its beer production to Jamaica is evidence of the company's confidence in the country's improving macroeconomic environment. On Wednesday, the first shipment of locally brewed Red Stripe was shipped to the United States after a 4-year halt on local production. As he hailed the beer company's move, Mr. Holness said taking the risk on that investment was directly connected to government's commitment to fiscal discipline and macroeconomic stability.
You see how inclusive this is. And you see the connection between good government policy, inspiring business executives to take a risk, and how that can pay off in the expansion of production and growing our economy, creating prosperity for all.
In the last 3 years, Red Stripe has invested $6 billion to improve the efficiency and production capacity of its Spanish Town Road plant. Another 50 Jamaicans are now employed thanks to the investment, which has included partnering with farmers to grow cassava for production, a combined heat and power plant to reduce energy costs, and commissioning of a new machine to produce 12-pack beers. Minister with responsibility for agriculture and fisheries, J.C. Hutchinson, says government is committed to using the agriculture sector as a catalyst for increased economic growth. This comes after announcement by the Planning Institute of Jamaica that the sector recorded growth of 7% in the first quarter of the 2016-2017 fiscal year. Minister Hutchinson says it is important that major focus continues to be placed on increasing production and productivity in all areas of the sector.
Agriculture is a critical plank of the country's growth agenda. I personally am looking at a growth rate of over 20% in this quarter ending in September. And I am also pushing very hard to see the growth rate going up to 25% by the end of the December quarter over last year.
The minister was addressing stakeholders at a training workshop on farm enterprise management held recently in Montego Bay. The Foreign Affairs Ministry is assuring Jamaicans living in the United Kingdom that its High Commission in London remains available to address their concerns on immigration and other matters. The assurance comes in the wake of yesterday's deportation of 42 Jamaicans from the United Kingdom. Their arrival by way of a charter flight and other matters spurred protest action by a small group of persons outside the Jamaican High Commission in London. In a statement yesterday, the Foreign Affairs Ministry said such flights had been used over the past several years under a 2007 Memorandum of Understanding between the governments of Jamaica and the United Kingdom. It also asserted that the Foreign Affairs Ministry would remain in contact with its national security counterpart and the Jamaican High Commission in London to address any issues which might arise for its attention. Approximately 50 justices of the peace JPs have received specialized training on the principles of restorative justice. The two-day training held this Monday and Tuesday at the Justice Ministry is to prepare JPs to play a critical role in the implementation of restorative justice procedures within the formal justice system. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck says that as part of this expanded role, JPs will be required to visit schools and civic society groups using restorative justice as a means of fostering peace.
This is the beginning of what we hope will be a long series of training. I'm hoping that many of you will become trainers. And, you know, JPs are always asking, can we get some assistance, a stipend? And this is one area. If you become trainers, we hope that the trainers can be paid.
Restorative justice focuses on the rehabilitation of offenders through reconciliation with victims and the community at large. The Restorative Justice Bill is currently before the House of Representatives. And finally, Jamaica joins the rest of the world today in commemorating International Literacy Day under the theme, Reading the Past, Writing the Future. In his message to mark the day, Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid says Jamaica has much to celebrate in the area of literacy. Pointing out that the national literacy rate currently stands at 86.7%, he asserts that literacy is the doorway of upward social mobility. While thanking all the educators who have made this possible, he urges stakeholders to continue seeking opportunities to promote the advancement of literacy at all levels.
Literacy is an indispensable foundation that enables youth and adults to engage in learning opportunities at all levels of the learning continuum. The right to literacy is an inherent right to education. Literacy, therefore, is a prerequisite for the development of personal, social, economic, and political empowerment.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thank you for watching.
Nobody want to plant the corn. Everybody want to read the band. Who you are go blame it on when it's a next man you are deep in pan. Well, you're wrong.
Farmers, let us be serious about predial larceny. It is affecting all of us. If you are aware of incidents of predial larceny, make contact with your local police station or call Crime Stop at 311. Predial larceny is everybody's business.
No mind if me stall. Them no business if me back against the wall. This a living sometime make me ball. seems like there ain't no love after.
The Agriculture Ministry has been employing different strategies to grow the sector and achieve efficiency in key areas, one of which involves accurate data collection from natural disasters. So, recently a demonstration of the use of drones was carried out for that and other purposes. Let's see the results.
The Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries is looking to employ the use of drone technology in the agriculture sector to provide useful data to drive production and productivity. Collaborating with local company DNC Drones, Minister without Portfolio J.C. Hutchinson held a demonstration with farmers in Low River, Trelawney in August. It showed the farmers that the drones will be able to assess damage to their sector from natural disasters such as a flood and help them identify measures to boost crop yield.
What we are looking for the drone to do is that once we have crop damage after a hurricane or flood, we usually find that when the estimates come in, we find that the estimates are not usually correct, because many of the extension officers can't reach the areas where the damage is. With the drone, we are able to go over and identify all the crops, all the animals that have been lost, and bring back the picture within a day.
Director of DNC Drones Nigel Davies said this type of drone technology is called precision agriculture,
which basically is collecting data in real time, analyzing that data, and then interpreting data to advise the farmer as to the status of his crop, which is basically his nutrient contents in his crop, the moisture content in his field, and how much he has. Because this technology can also count the number of hills of yam, potato plants, tomato plants in the field. We can assess, let's say, the number of animals that died. We can measure that. We can tell you that, wait a minute, that these guys had 20 acres of yam here, and we knew that 6 months ago it was 50 hills of yams. We now can say he lost 50 hills of yams. So the drone technology is used widely in disaster management.
Other benefits of the drones include giving a clear picture of crops under production and identifying areas with irrigation needs and crops that are lacking in nutrients.
We have what we call a multispectral camera, which is this little camera on this particular drone, and it takes pictures of the plants. As you well know, plant leaves basically absorb sunlight and reflect sunlight. So this is a special camera that rejects infrared or near infrared, and then it can use that data using an algorithm to tell us how much nitrogen, how much potassium, how much phosphorus, or the lack thereof in a plant. We also can tell you the moisture content in the field.
Now, if that can be done, we will be able to tell the farmer what needs to be done with his different crops. And with that, we are looking at seeing how we can not only increase production, but we can increase productivity. So with the technology, we are looking to see if we can bolster agriculture.
The drone demonstration in Trelawney is the first of an island-wide campaign by the Agriculture Ministry to sensitize farmers about the benefits of the technology.
We feel that it can be able to counteract predial larceny in a certain way, and we are going to see how we can get it going so that we are able to counteract predial larceny for the farmers.
We can identify cows or any animals, as the case may be, that may be hidden anywhere. Let's say, for example, Master Storm. You know Master Storm only have 5 goats in his field, but all of a sudden, in the backyard, he might have another 10. We can survey that area and identify the number of cows or goats, as the case may be, using our thermal imaging camera. We can't solve the problem, but we can aid in recovery of animals or monitor a man's farm. Minister, we're going to work with you, and try to streamline the technology to ensure that we can attain that goal.
I think the drone is going to make a big difference as far as us moving forward in agriculture. I want to see a revolutionization of agriculture in this country.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, Bolt and a Sapa.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think that's so? We reach a the aging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
We continue our discussion on the use of science and technology in agriculture. Students from the Nakalva Agricultural School tell us how to treat recycled water for irrigation use.
I'm studying general agriculture. I want to be a veterinarian.
Bioengineer. I want to manage my own agricultural business.
They are the future of the agriculture sector and are working towards making a significant impact.
You have certain crops in Jamaica that are being depleted. I would like to re-engineer those crops and bring them back into the world. I'm planning to do something similar to this, or if I can fine-tune the same thing and rename it into a brand that I can offer to the economy, I want to do this.
This is the KISA model, a project that highlights an approach that can be taken by farmers to treat recycled water on their farms to irrigate field crops.
The main purpose of this layout right here is to have an environment where we try to have less economic problems, try to build up a system that is economically and environmentally friendly.
The idea and design came out of a need to implement such a system on the grounds of their Hanover-based agricultural school. The Nakalva students also believe that the KISA model will be able to sustain farmers through periods of low rainfall and drought. Here is how it will work. Say you are a pig farmer. Each time you wash the pig pen, that water can be channeled to various treatment points. The water, along with the waste substance, will then pass through a biodigester, allowing you to produce your own energy for your farm as well as manure.
In the biogas digester, anaerobic bacteria breaks down or digests the material and releases a gas known as methane gas. This methane gas is then sent to the control station where our generator converts this gas into energy and is used up on the farm on a day-to-day basis. So after the biogas digester, the solid part of the material is sent to the drying bed. In the drying bed, it is left open where it can be dried completely. After it is dried, the material is then used back in our outfield and our greenhouse as organic material or manure.
Following that is the water treatment process. The liquid from the drying pond is sent to the anaerobic pond, which is the first stage of treatment.
In this pond, there's a substance known as BOD. BOD is biological chemical oxygen demand. This is the amount of oxygen that bacteria requires to break down organic matter. It is reduced by 85% in the anaerobic pond, and in the second pond, which is the facultative pond, it is reduced by 95%. In the facultative pond, algae is present to add additional oxygen to the water by photosynthesis. And doing this, the algae also removes nitrates and phosphate, therefore purifying the water a little further.
From here, water moves to maturation ponds 1 and 2. This process is to move coliform bacteria.
Anaerobic respiration occurs at the bottom of the pond. The main purpose is to reduce pathogens like bacteria, viruses, E. coli, and no chlorine. Then it will travel in a channel to storage pond, where the water stays there.
This storage pond will also facilitate rainwater harvesting.
This harvested water is used to lower the pH of the water stored in the storage pond, and it is also used to spread out the level of pathogen in the water. This is done because there is a recommended level of pathogen per liter in the water, and doing this will reduce the amount of concentration of pathogen in that specific liter. After the treatment of the water, it is then sent to the control station where the generator and pump is activated, and it is dispersed into our outfields and in our greenhouse irrigation system.
So I believe that this is one of the best ideas that all Jamaican farmers should partake in. Not only that it is very beneficial to our economy, it is also beneficial to your pockets. To get this started, it is not really an easy process, but over a period of time you'll realize that because you are creating your own energy, you don't have to go ahead and buy water, because you're the one reusing, recycling your water, you're the one harvesting your water, you're the one treating it, so you don't have to pay to do all of those processes.
It is this application of technology and innovation within the agriculture sector that is being promoted by Portfolio Minister Caenwood.
We have to become technology savvy, and we have to introduce it at all elements of agriculture, because that's the only way that we are going to be on the cutting edge of competition.
And the Minister Caenwood is encouraging young people to be part of this transformation by choosing areas of agriculture as careers.
The future of Jamaica's agriculture must rely on the wisdom of the old, but the energy of the young. They are the ones who are going to carry this process forward.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Up next, the benefits of greenhouse farming and the technology that creates the right environment for growing agriculture crops.
All this can be a thing of the past with the implementation of protected agriculture. There is nothing more pleasing to a farmer than to see the beauty of his crops. A few years ago, farmers in Jamaica were affected to a great extent by the tomato yellow leaf curl virus, commonly known as the Jerry curl virus. This resulted in severe crop loss. But with the aid of protected agriculture, farmers now have the option of growing plants in a more controlled environment. This structure, known as a greenhouse, offers a way to protect plants from the external environment risks, such as pest and disease infestation or severe weather conditions.
Having them in protected agriculture setting, we can somewhat shift our climate, shift the internal environment to suit the plant.
The Ministry of Agriculture, through its Bodles Research Station, has been helping farmers with the use of this technology to have better yields on their crops. And a useful technology it is. The material used is a protective mesh that can keep out the smallest of insects, such as aphids, also called plant lice. These small sap-sucking insects are destructive pests to cultivated plants.
In keeping out aphids, we actually keep out viruses. And keeping out the other insects, we will do the same thing as keeping out viruses, as well as keeping out lepidopterans, which will come in and actually eat the leaves of the plant.
The double door feature is another way of controlling insects from getting inside. This is recommended for every greenhouse, and at no time should both doors be open. After entering through the first door, there should also be a foot bath with about 20% bleach solution or some other disinfectant that will help to get rid of unwanted pathogens off the shoes. So with the first door closed and foot washed, the second door can then be opened to the crop. Insects are not the only danger to plants. Climate conditions also pose a risk. So plants in most greenhouses are grown in a controlled temperature environment. This is adjusted with the aid of shade screens. These retractable screens block out excess sunlight or let in more as the need arises. The shade screens can also be programmed in automated mode, and as the sensor detects the temperature inside the house, the screen will automatically open. Plants grown through protected agriculture are also kept at a moderate temperature by airflow fans, which help with the circulation of air around the greenhouse. The irrigation process is another important area of protected agriculture.
The irrigation system that we use is actually a drip irrigation system. We do not do overhead irrigation inside the greenhouse because we do not want the leaves to get wet. When leaves become wet, you can actually have fungus growing on the leaves of the plant and then destroying the entire crop.
All this is monitored through a timer system that allows for manipulation of the entire nutrient feeding process.
This system now allows for mixing of the fertilizer, which is in these two tanks. So different elements are combined to feed the plants. The irrigation water comes here, and the injectors pick up the fertilizer, mix it along the line, and then combines it. At the end of the mixing process, it is sent to the plants.
Now, in the protected agriculture environment, if farmers manage their crops well, the yield and quality will be much better, and the result? Less spoilage and more revenue.
The main reason is that the farmer controls the environment and controls the fertilizer that is going towards the plant. And there is no pressure from weeds utilizing the nutrients from the soil as opposed to the plants.
So if you are considering going into agriculture or you are already in the field, here are a few benefits of protected agriculture to consider. It gives good production when compared to normal farming. Humidity can be controlled, thus eliminating the breeding of pests. Crops can be grown throughout the year, and the greenhouse gives protection to plants against weather conditions that can damage or influence growth. For further information, you may contact the Bodles Research Station of the Ministry of Agriculture at 983-2281 or 983-2267.
I remember when I didn't like school and Mommy used to have to wake me up. Tabla, hurry up. You're going to be late for school.
Hey, now that I have a tablet, you don't need to wake me up. Since Mommy and Daddy bought me a tablet, I use my tablet for all kinds of cool stuff. I use my tablet to read books. I use my tablet to learn about history and science. I use my tablet to help with my homework. I even use it to talk to my daddy at work. Hello, Daddy!
Learning is easy and fun with a tablet. Take care of your tablet, use it wisely.
We've come to the end of our 30 minutes, but certainly not the end of your connection with us. Just to log on to our website, jis.gov.jm, and while you're online, send your feedback to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or a tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.